Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. Today I will be going over some of the cards coming out in Vendetta. I'm just going to be doing a general market overview. The purpose of this video is more just to kind of cover cards that I think are currently overpriced or cards that I myself am going to be buying. I would like to preface this by saying that anyone who tells you, oh, like this is what price a card will end up at, is either wrong or trying to manipulate you. Um, it's not a whole lot of other ways to say that. We don't know where a lot of these cards are going to end up. There's a lot of factors that are currently affecting the market. This is purely my opinion, purely my experience, and purely um, what I think is going to go down over the next couple days. But there's no guarantees here, and I'm not saying what I'm going to be saying as a, oh, you should buy this. It's just more kind of for my own purposes and fun. So just kind of wanted to get that out of the way. I've been seeing a lot of like content creators making market watch videos that are kind of just like, oh, like you should buy this. This is a great pickup or a great investment. And I'm like, no, like we don't know what's gonna happen. Like I saw people saying, oh, you should buy Aria Inquisitive during pre-release, which would have been disastrous for you, which we can go over in just a second. Um, I don't invest in cards. I play it for fun and I collect stuff that I like. So I'll be coming at it from that perspective. But just going to go down the list. I'm going to cover overnumbereds. I'm basically just going to cover it page by page on TCG Player. Um, but I guess with that being said, as for all the signatures, we haven't seen most of them get posted yet. Obviously, it's pretty rare. I think with the investor crowd that's come in over the last couple weeks, these are going to be significantly more expensive than they have maybe in the past. I mean, we've seen um, like just to take Rengar as an example, because I was looking at him yesterday, he hovered around 300 for what is this, probably a good month or so. This is when we had a lot of the investor crowd come in, and now he's sitting at 700. I don't think the card is worth that much. I will not be buying this. I have a pretty low tolerance for stuff that I think is overpriced. Um, but with all of this, if you really want the card, buy it. Like, there's nobody stopping you. Whatever's gonna make you happy. But I try to get a decent deal on my stuff just because I don't have that much money laying around. Um, so all these signatures I think are going to be really high price wise. Even Shen here, I like this overnumber personally. It's a little funny, but I think it's cool. I don't think the card is worth 600 with a signature, and that's not even a verified account. Um, as for the actual overnumbereds, this is the morning of release day. A lot of product hasn't entered the market yet. I think I would be surprised if most of these overnumbers didn't get cut in half by the week's end. I think we're going to see a lot of these go sub 100. I think a couple of the higher end ones might end up close to 200, but I think the only ones with that possibility, in my opinion, are Kennen, because one, super popular, super cool overnumber, and he's going to be really playable. This is a really great legend. I think Akali is going to be relatively high priced. That's primarily just, I mean, she's playable and she's popular, but I think it's a little bit of a gooner card. I think this has been getting a lot of like investor in quotes attention. Um, and then I think it's probably on a later page, but there's one other one that I'll point out that I think is going to probably end up there. Actually, spoiler alert, it's Zed. I think the Zed overnumber legend is probably going to be up there, but just because he's playable, he's popular, and it's a cool card. And I definitely want it. I think Nasus here, definitely overpriced. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up closer to 100. I think most of the overnumbered characters, like the duels, like Riven and Draven here, are going to end up sub 100. The very playable ones might be a little higher. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Destructive ends up higher just because she's a really good card. Um, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm going to be holding off on a lot of my overnumber purchases until probably next week, but we'll see. With the past couple sets, I came in at Spirit Forged, and with Spirit Forged, we saw this massive drop off, like slowly after release. Just as an example that springs to mind, Ornn here, obviously not the most playable legend. Like he's fun, he's cool, but not great. Um, this was his release. He kind of spiked on release, and then he like just tanked over the next month. And I think we'll probably see a similar pattern. It might be a little bit, the floor might be a little higher with this one just because we've seen this investor activity here. Um, but we'll see how interested people are in the new set. Um, wouldn't be surprised though if we saw a similar pattern to a lot of the Overnumber Legends from previous sets. So it kind of covers, yeah, as a rule, I think most of these are going to be sub 100 in my opinion. Renekton should be way lower. This is like, I don't even know what to say. Like, he's kind of like the litmus test for this set for the prices, in my opinion, because this is arguably the worst overnumbered in the game. Um, and yet he's 80 bucks, obviously, because it's just release day. Um, I'll probably buy this when it's sub 50, maybe, if it ends up down there. I like this card just for collection value, but I don't love it. A lot of these Crystal Rose skins have been kind of been bought out. I think people were still a little bit confused about the rarity of this because they called it an SP, but I think a lot of the investors hear SPs and they're like, oh, One Piece, like SP rarity. No, this is in an alt art slot. These are just as common as the other cards. In fact, these are arguably more common than they would have been in previous sets because since we only have 9 legends, I think we only have like 18 regular alts or something, and then we have the SPs bringing us to 24-ish. I don't know if that number is exactly right, but like statistically, you have a pretty good chance of pulling these. Um, I think Kai'Sa will probably settle around where the other alt is. It's relatively the same pull rate. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually drives. Yeah, like you're already seeing it. It kind of drives down some of the other um, cards prices. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's a little on the higher end, closer to like 70. Really got to just start opening a new tab for these. And then Lux, popular character, a bit of a Gooner card, but not playable. This would get maybe sees play if you're like a Lux enjoyer, just as a chosen champion. But I would be surprised if she was north of 40 after the week. Same with Sona, playable card, but most alts in this game don't end up being that high just because they're pretty common, relatively speaking. Um, so I don't know why this isn't loading, but yeah, same deal. I think this is this is Crystal Rose Ezreal. Um, and he's already down to 19, which I think is like a fair price for him. I might wait till he's closer to like 12-ish, but I like that skin, so maybe I'll end up buying it in the next couple days. So getting into kind of more playable stuff, um, that's interesting. I'm a little surprised that this is so low. Um, honestly, that's not a bad purchase since I think I bought this off the Riot website for like 30, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. So, hey, if you like it, Zen and Shed. Wow. Zed and Shen. Kind of flip-flop that. Then that's not an awful price. You get a couple packs in there too, I think. So, the cards that are going to end up in the starter deck, like Deathmark, are probably going to keep going down. Um, I would be surprised if these signatures stay up this high. I think I could see Lightning Rush staying up a little higher, similar deal to like Draven's Spinning Axe back when Spirit Forge launched. But I think it'll probably be driven down relatively quickly. And then we're already seeing a lot of alts that are a reasonable price. Like, I might wait a little longer, but I like Zed. I like this card. I think $5 with shipping for like an alt that I like for a deck that I'm interested in is a pretty alright price. I'd say wait a little longer after release for product to enter the market, but that's already not bad. Um, so yeah, you're already seeing like Renekton's under $3. Jace's signature spell, I guess, isn't seeing a ton of play. Um, and then any epics that end up, or any alts or epics that end up under like a buck or two, if I'm at all interested in it, like I want to play it in the future, maybe, then I just throw a few bucks at it and just buy a playset. Like Dominus here, not a great card, but I've seen it getting teched in occasionally for Renekton. If I want to play Renekton, I consider buying this just because it's relatively cheap and it's his signature. And like we saw with Rengar's signature spell, it absolutely spiked after he performed well, and then it came back down. but there were a lot of people who ended up buying it when it was like $7 just because they wanted to try it out. So probably not the same deal because Rengar is actually viable, but just kind of my own thoughts on it. And then we're getting into just Cataclysmic Duel. Not a great card, but if you're interested in it, get your playset for under $1. I already unfortunately have some of my own, but that's pre-refluck. Then I think back here, yeah, so we're getting into the other side of the overnumbered. So this is where it gets a little shaky for me. So you can see some cards are already getting a decent number of listings. Like I think the reason Alawi's price is so much lower than something like Renekton is because people are actively listing her. I think Alawi is just generically a better card than Renekton. I think she's kind of underrated, playability wise. I don't think this Renekton is great. With that being said, I will be buying this Renekton just because I like it for my binder. I'll also be buying the Nasus that goes with it. I'll probably frame them. I will be buying a playset of this Alawi if she ends up a little cheaper, just because I'm playing her in my Kennen deck. But I don't think Mel warrants that price. I think Alawi should be closer to like 50 or 60. I think Renekton should definitely be closer to 50. But once again, this is day one. We're seeing so many price spikes, and like, I've been tracking this over the morning, and I've already seen like Rengar earlier. This lowest listing was 200, or it was like 220. We've already seen drops, and it's because even though people are listing these prices, nobody wants to buy them at this price. And I'll kind of circle back to the start, but I think a lot of these prices are pretty unreasonable, and that's why we have a market price unavailable for these. Because like Gangplank's cool, but I don't know why you'd pay $140 for his overnumber. I mean, it's a nice card. Don't get me wrong, it's probably playable, but it's not worth that much to me, in my opinion. Yeah, I think a lot of these are going to keep falling. I think Aurelia has a decent chance of staying up high just because it's Aurelia. She's super playable. Jinx might stay high just because it seems like she's a primary target for a lot of the investors and scalpers. I will probably buy Kha'Zix and Rengar as well, just because I like this kind of pair of connected arts. I forget what they called them. But I'll wait for him to get a little lower. This is not a good card, at least with our current arsenal. So I'll probably wait till this gets sub 50. So, which, might never happen, but eventually it'll reach a point where I'm like, yeah, I'm comfortable paying that price. I like the card, or I want it right now. And it'll kind of just be I guess a 5 check at that point, I don't know. So, yeah, but I wanted to circle back real quick. I know I've just kind of been rambling, but I wanted to highlight also um, a lot of the market prices. So, like, Draven's market price is currently 189. He had one sale during pre-release yesterday. I think a lot of people saw the 189 and are like I wouldn't be surprised if down here we see a whole bunch of people listing for around that point, just because they saw the market price and they're like, oh, I'm going to list at market. And it's a little tough because during pre-release, it's either people who are trying to manipulate the market, are new to the hobby, or are rich enough or are managing their money well enough that they want to pay that much. I think this card is not worth that much. And it's a similar story with a lot of these. Like, I think Kennen, it's going to be a very playable card. It's going to be probably one of the chases for the overnumbers. But he had, yeah, one sale at 350. Total sold one. And then a lot of people were like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll sell for that. And it's not worth that much. I mean, not to me at least. So, once again, a lot of this is opinion. But I did want to talk about displays and Ari. These will be the last 2 points that I talk about in the video. First of all, Ari. It's a Gunnar card. She has been a primary target for a lot of the investment. She's been a primary target for scalpers. I saw videos of people saying buy it now before it goes to 250. This is an alt art. This is a standard alt art. it goes into the same slot as an alt art, and it has the same probability of being pulled as any other alt art in the set. You can do whatever you want with your money. I don't think this card is worth anywhere near 100. I would not buy this unless it was probably closer to 40. I think that even is on the higher end. Um, I am not a huge Aria enjoyer. I'll specify that, or I'll say that. But I think these prices are ridiculous for an alt art. As far as I know, actually, I don't even know if I can just specify alt art and Riftbound. Yeah, I guess I can. All right. A lot of the higher end alt arts are up there because they're playable. Baron, absolutely excellent card. Uh, this one being 23 bucks, sure, I could buy that. Like this is a staple in a lot of higher end purple decks. Elder Dragon, staple in Aurora, staple in a lot of orange decks just because it's a disgusting card. Rengar, absolutely disgusting. These are cards that I can justify spending 20, 30 bucks for an alt. Like if I want to blow my deck. But, and like Vex, same story. But then I look at some of these and I'm like, okay, Kennen, Ambessa, probably Akali, Nasus, these are all cards that are up here because they're in pre-release. Kai'Sa, one of the most playable cards in the entire game. Sure. Like, we can justify that. That's from Origins. Sure. Um, but then it's the same story with, like, Teemo. We see these abnormal spikes, these weird buyouts. This is scalper behavior. These are people trying to invest in the game and turn a profit. Teemo is not terribly playable outside of kind of meme decks like Teemo. If we ever get something that has strong hidden synergy, then maybe it'll be playable, but until then, I really don't think poor BMO here is worth that much. Like 30, almost 30 bucks? That's crazy. Um, I hope that Ari is going to settle down closer to 30 or 40. I wouldn't be surprised if she stays closer to 50 or 60, but I will just say buyer beware, you're going to get ripped off on this one in all likelihood. But maybe I'll be proven wrong. We'll see. I mean, even Baron, um, I remember opening him pre-release, and yeah, I think I opened him when he was at, his lowest listing was like 70, which was somewhere right around here. Um, and then obviously he fell like a stone out of an airplane as soon as the set actually launched. Um, but one last point is the booster box prices. Um, be wary of buying just straight up booster boxes off of TCG Player. Riftbound doesn't seem to have, to the best of my knowledge, the same mapping or the same, I guess, like case hits as One Piece. If you're buying a One Piece booster box on TCG Player, you're probably going to get ripped off because it's, 2 SPs per case. Odds of a manga are pretty low, so people will crack the SPs and then say, oh, I have extra booster boxes, and then sell them and they're duds. I think you have a little bit lower chance of that with Riftbound from what I've heard, but still buyer beware. I think like MSRP is 120. I think that's fine. That's a perfectly fine price. Um, that is a standard price that I would pay for a booster box. I think you're still kind of just hunting for an overnumbered, but I think that's fine value. Um, this is what I paid for my Riot box, which is something that I want to talk about as well. I won the raffle. I got my Zed and Shen starter deck, and then I got my Vendetta booster box. My experience this time around was far better than in the past. As of today, I got a UPS shipping notification that it will be at my door between 12 and 4, so it should show up sometime today if UPS is right. I think this is the first time they've ever gotten me a box on, or gotten a box to me on release day. Uh, I want to give them huge props for that. I think it's a massive improvement from the past. I was waiting for my Unleashed box for like a month after launch day, so this is a huge step in the right direction, and I think that Riot deserves some praise for kind of getting their act together on that front. Um, but with that being said, I'll stop rambling now. Wow. Sorry, I just kind of noticed that this is 290. That is so not worth it. Oh my god. Okay. Please reap pencils into the ground, Riot. Alright, I'll stop rambling now. I hope someone enjoyed this. This is just kind of me venting into the void. If you disagree or agree with something, feel free to let me know in the comments. But I do this kind of for fun. I don't do this for uh, like investment advice, for lack of a better term. So yeah, but I hope y'all have a great launch week, and let me know what you pull.